Ellie Peralta, 85, born in 1985, okay, 3 years older than me, says, why do you think it is that we as non-native English speakers are able to understand more English than we speak? And the simple answer is the same reason that most non-native speakers of any language are able to understand more than they speak. Understanding comes before the ability to communicate well, usually. And I think that's also true, by the way, for little children, for babies. Of course, they're making sounds very early, but their ability to understand what's going on and what people are saying comes before their ability to explain themselves. So in almost all cases of English learning, understanding seems to be at a higher level, at least earlier, than does the ability to communicate and express, right? I was listening to a YouTube podcast today with Lex Friedman and Stephen Wolfram, 4.5 hours long. And if you know anything about Stephen Wolfram is he's a mathematician, he was a physicist, and Lex Friedman he's a computer scientist, he's an AI researcher, and it was a very high-level conversation. They're very technical, very mathematical. I'm not an expert in mathematics, so I was, for 4.5 hours, like this, trying to understand what I was hearing, because there's so many concepts, ideas, and terms that I'm unfamiliar with as a non-mathematician, non-scientist, non-computer programmer. But I was able to understand what they were talking about, at least in general, okay? But if you were to ask me, tell me what they were talking about, that would be a lot harder for me to do. Okay, so, all right, well. So I was able to grasp what they were saying as they went pretty well, except for some of the more complicated words, but not really get it to the level of being able to talk about it at the level that they're able to talk about it. It's their field. I mean, they're brilliant people. I'm just a dingus who lives in New York, and so I don't know that. So it's the same kind of idea. You hear people talking in a TV show or a movie, you hear people talking at work, you're able to catch the words, you've learned it, but then when you get into a conversational situation, it's tough to find the words that you want to use. It's tough to put everything together and be clear. And there, I think, are a couple different things going on there. Number one is just a great imbalance of what kind of activity it is, right? You spend much more time gaining an awareness of language, gathering, than you do creating, output, right? And because of that imbalance, because there's so much more gathering, because there's so much more input, then your brain is wired to be able to do that better. What you do more, you're better at, right? If you play ping pong instead of basketball 6 hours a week and 1 hour a week, then you're going to be better at ping pong, which you play 6 hours a week. Probably, right? Probably. So there's that imbalance. I think that's part of it. And I also think, though, it is the lack of an ability to find ways to practice the other thing. So how many opportunities do you have to practice speaking? Do you have conversations every single day? Well, if not, then that's an obvious one. You need to find more ways to do it. Just getting comfortable with having conversations is really, really key. I've seen students go from feeling really uncomfortable talking with me one-to-one to really confident. And when they get more confident and when they feel more comfortable, language starts flowing out. So there's one, just the lack of practice in general, but two, once that level of comfort comes in conversations, as you find more ways to speak, then the feeling of goes away, and the language that you know starts to be able to come out more easily. So that's a big part of it too. That is what I would call the nervousness factor. When you haven't done something enough, you have a nervousness factor. I haven't driven in 10 years. Recently I've been driving. I got a car, And at first I felt really nervous, and I was making stupid mistakes. As I've been relaxing, I've been much more confident, and I've been able to, I think, drive better. Same thing with games, video games. You start playing a new game, you feel nervous, you don't know what you're doing, you get killed right away. As you relax, as you do it more, you feel more confident, you feel more comfortable, and your actual skills are able to flow. Prior to that, with that nervousness in the way, it's like a wall, and it's stopping all of the things that are there, the language that you know, the grammar that you know, from coming out. When that goes down and you feel more relaxed, then you're at your actual level. But then you still find, I still don't feel I'm as good as my ability to understand. And then you come up against that first issue, which is simply the imbalance of practicing one thing much more than the other, doing one thing much more than the other. And there you just need to focus on finding more ways to practice, practicing writing, all of that stuff. You need to really, really prioritize speaking partners. You need to prioritize exercises that help you to think in English. You need to prioritize writing examples down. So that would be my general advice and my general sense. I think it's true for learning languages, but I think it's true for most other things that we learn as well. So hopefully that makes sense. It's a good question. Guys, if you have any other questions, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. And check out the full courses in the links in the description.